Oh, someone's taking pictures.
We're good? Okay, so I'll start over. Again, Sean Bluebaum, Senior Manager for Sundt here on the for Vita and Inspirata. And I brought two of our unbelievable, incredible team members. See, I mixed it up there a little bit. With me this morning, so I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi, good morning. I'm Sarah Nicholas. I'm a field engineer with Sundt Construction, and I was working on the Inspirata Pointe side, and I'm also working on the Vita Center project as well. Good to be here.
Hi, and I'm Jacob Nunn. I'm a field engineer, and I'm mainly on the B and C buildings over in Inspirata Pointe.
So I brought Sarah and Jacob. They have been here for pretty much the entire time, and it's the entire time of their young careers so far. So this is their initial job out of the gate, and they've both come here before more as, hey, we're new and we're learning, and now 2 years in, I could say they're totally different grown field engineers, right? And they know all there is to know. Um, so it's great.
Good job, Jacob.
So before I brought them, and their role was just to introduce themselves and get used to talking in front of people and say hello. Now they're going to talk about their buildings today to you guys. So they're the experts in their given building. So we'll let them brag about it a little bit. All right. So as always, I start with what we're supposed to be building as far as the rendering was concerned. So we know what it's supposed to look like when we're done, and this is what it looks like right now. So pretty similar, which is a good thing, right? So we are really coming along. These videos and drone shots were taken, I believe, on the 29th, so just the end of last week, so just a few days old. Also, we do have questions at the end, but raise your hand, ask questions throughout. It's better if you do. So if you got anything on your mind, anything specific to what we're showing, just raise your hand, and we'll do our best to answer. All right, so we start every meeting with a safety share. Want to make sure safety is top of mind. That's amazing. This is our drone pilot who may have just flown around the world to get here in time for this, Glenn Casada. So, yeah, why don't you go ahead and do it? So we'll start with the safety share, then we'll do a little bit of a project overview and an update, some current photos. I was going to tell you that our drone video wasn't working until he just walked in the door just now. So it may work now. The Vita Center works, by the way. It's just Inspirata. And then we'll talk about upcoming work. And like I said, Q&A during the course of it is better. So I can't switch this while you're doing it, can I? No. Oh, I do, but I got slides for it. So hang tight.
Who dressed up for Halloween? Anybody? Yeah? What costumes did you wear? Oh, nice.
It's here. You want the safety share where the drone is? Okay. All right, so let's get on with the safety share. Our safety share this month is related to holiday dangers. Now, you might be saying that's a month early, but we are not doing a resident presentation next month. So this is the last one till January, so we want to make sure to cover the holiday season, if you will. Can you go one more forward? All right. So, lots of holiday dangers, some involving alcohol, some not, but we'll try to cover them all. So fire, watch your space heaters and candles. Make sure you unplug your lights when you go to bed. Check your smoke detectors and keep lighters and matches away from the kids. So I know there's a lot of little kids in this room, right? Cars. Cars are a big thing. People are in a hurry, people rushing around. Sometimes the weather's inclement, not so much here, right? But buckle up, be safe driving. Avoid traveling in the evening. Definitely don't drink and drive, right? Huge no-no. Maybe in a golf cart, right? Don't drive if you're too tired or fatigued, right? And then and Jason, our safety manager, made this slide and put poisoning on there, so I'm a little worried about what happens in his household. But um, but what he's saying is food poisoning, right? Don't reuse plates and cutting boards. I actually found out last year, and I do all of our cooking. I didn't know this, but they recommend that after you wash your turkey and all that in the sink, that you disinfect and wipe down the inside of your sink, not just rinse it out. I didn't know that. So cook food thoroughly and just watch out for food that sits out and things like that. All right, can you go to the next one? All right, fall injuries. I assume that most of you don't hang your lights on the outside. Royal Oaks does that if you have lights, but that doesn't mean you don't hang things on the inside of your house, right? Ladders, we've talked about, are the most dangerous tool we have in construction. Well, they're also dangerous at home, right? So be careful on any ladders. Top 2 steps are a no-go. I've told this story before. A couple of holidays ago, I walked into the other room, and my mom was getting ready to put a stepladder on top of a coffee table to hang something up, right? So don't do that. That's a bad idea. Have 3 points of contract. Don't overreach and always face your ladder. Burns, make sure and keep oven doors completely closed. Go Mariners.
That's your screensaver.
I heard a Go Phillies out there too. That's pretty good.
Yay!
You know who's from Philadelphia? This one right here. So,
Yay!
Turn panhandles away from you. I've tried and tried. My wife is just not going to do that at this point, but it is a good thing to do. And then opening presents, cut with the scissors going that way, not coming at you. So anyway, with the holidays upon us, with the one to share some of those. So any questions on safety, holidays or otherwise? Yes, sir.
As to your first cartoon there,
Yeah.
as an ex-fireman, don't burn your Christmas tree in the fireplace in January.
Good call. Good call. Oh. You got to go to, over there. There you go. We're getting close. Where'd you put it? Look at that. We might have got there. All right, go back to presentation mode. All right, now go sit down and have a heart attack. Good job, Glenn. So, yeah. For those that don't know, Sundt has 25 licensed, certified, trained drone pilots in the company, and we happen to have one here that's based on this job in Glen. So he was actually flying a drone across town at the Biltmore when I called him and said, it's not working. So, so he is another part of our team and does a great job. So appreciate it, Glenn. All right, so let's see if it works. This will be about a 2.5, 3 minute, our latest drone video. So here you're looking at building, would be B and C, the 3-story structure. You can see that we're pretty far along in that building as far as the exterior is concerned, windows and stucco. You've got some site work going on. We're making our way around the site, getting ready for paving. Roof screens are done. Mechanical units are largely flown. I got a couple pictures of those cranes in the presentation. We're doing some of these exterior site walls and things like that. And B on the exterior is really wrapping up. I'll show you some pictures later on. It's heavy into the drywall stages and cabinets on the inside. All right. Now on to D and E, the 4-story building. You can see that it is in the midst of stucco and the exterior, a little bit behind B and C. It's got some of it fully stuccoed, and that's the part that's white, and then Some of it is gray, where we've stuccoed, but we haven't put the finish coat on yet, and some of it is still just framing and waiting for stucco to get there. You've also got mechanical units flown largely on that building. You've got windows going in. You've got anywhere you see the paper Tyvek still gets metal, like metal panels, like these spots right here. Railings are going in, or at least the stanchions are in, and it's following right along. And again, we've got site work, sidewalks, and things going around the outside of it. These buildings are completely dry at this point, so they're all 100% roofed, 100% dry, with the exception may have some windows still need to go in, but that's okay. There is the fun building, right? E and F. You can see that also is fairly complete on the exterior. It's getting some of the sunshades and canopies and those sorts of things. Windows are in, storefronts are in, stucco is on, mechanical units are on the roof. Metal is going around the parapet. You can see the brown there. The donut area here is roofed, and we've got some planter boxes and water feature in. And inside there, we're also having to drywall and tile. You can see the cul-de-sacs, the tie-ins, the south cul-de-sac, that's all paved. We've got sidewalk going here and curb all the way around. We're getting ready to pave that entire fire lane loop. That'll be towards the end of this month. Let's see. What else? Anything else you guys can see in there I didn't mention? So all of this, we're just working our way around with curb and gutter and sidewalk and those sorts of things. So golf cart parking is paved. The question? The question is there going to be the sidewalk all the way around? It's not like everywhere that you have the road there is sidewalk, but there are paths to be able to get everywhere on the campus on a sidewalk, yeah. Yes, sir.
So what are the giant piles of dirt
Question was, what are the giant piles of dirt to the south of the buildings? It's largely dirt that we've pulled out of areas that we're saving in case we need it as we remobilize to do the whole paving and operation. Like there's a big retention on the east side there. We got to get in and do some cut and some fill in there. And so it costs money to export the dirt. So if we can pile it up and wait and see what we need and don't need and just export at the end, that's what we do. Yeah. Any other questions on that? Yes, ma'am. The question is the road around the building one way? It is not. It goes both directions. All right, should we look at Vita? All right, let's do it. Oops. Sarah, do you want to narrate on this one, or you want me to do it?
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, this is the Vita Center. Over here is the occupational therapy, physical therapy room with all your equipment. There's a hair salon right here and nail salon. There's some medical treatment rooms along the west side of the project. Your pool, there's going to be a hydrotherapy pool in this side of the room. Okay, and on that side of the masonry. There's going to be some showers and lockers over there. We just poured some concrete slabs, 90% of the concrete slabs last week. It was pretty exciting. And we're getting through with all of our steel connections, bridging, and metal decking is going to be starting soon. And then we'll do layout of all the interior walls, exterior walls. And that lets us loose for all the MEP install as well. So.
And we've got some still shots further on in the presentation, so she can take a little bit more time. But yeah, Vita's cooking right along.
Good video.
Good job, Glenn. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You saved the day.
All right, so progress photos wise, that's last month. We didn't get that one in there. I should have hit that one. Sorry, Glenn. Um, so this is Jacob's building, right? So we call it building B, but it's B and C as far as the end product is concerned. So Jacob, you want to talk about sort of what's going on here?
Yeah, I think this one's working. Oh,
It's
you can
working.
hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
So I've got exterior, then I've got two interiors.
Okay,
So talk about
sweet.
exterior first.
Yeah, so you can see right here we have our metal panels going in above the storefronts, and that's pretty much our last thing that we got to button up on the exterior. After the bridge, we're just using that as like a loading zone still. So we'll wait on those, but it's pretty much getting all wrapped up on the exterior. You can see these site walls going in just outside some of the patios, and all the curb and gutter and sidewalk around there is getting buttoned up too. So go ahead. Yeah, so this is our dripcrete that we poured on the third floor yesterday. So that's basically what is you're gonna walk on. It'll have your flooring over it, but it's a wood deck, and then they pour that on the upper floors. At the C building on the first floor, we actually have cabinets going in this week. So it's all looking good, getting all the trim put in, all the light fixtures, vanities, all that kind of stuff. So that's
You can see also on the far left of this picture, beneath all the gypcrete is the Acoustimat. We've had some questions in previous presentations about the acoustics and things. That's what this is for. Besides the wood, it gives an acoustical rating to that floor. And then the gypcrete goes on top of there and adds to that acoustic protection. Then your flooring goes on.
yeah. So that is that on the. Oh, there we go. As you can see, all the cabinets going in. That is on the first floor of the C building. They're going to wrap that up this week, and countertops will be going in sometime next week. And then they're going to jump to the second floor with the cabinet install. So all that's going in. On the third floor of Building C, it's getting painted right now. So they're going to finish up this week with all the paint on the third floor. And then after the cabinets, we're just going to jump up again and get all that stuff installed, get all the lights installed. As you can see in the ceiling, all the can lights are getting put in. Everything. So it looks really good in there right now. In the B building on the second floor, we're putting in all of our doors in right now. So after that's done, everything will get painted. Yep, you can see on the right. Get out of the way. On the right, you can see the doors going in. So they'll put all those in. It'll get painted. The cabinets will come in, just kind of rinse and repeat of what we're doing over in the C building. And then as you can see on the left, that was yesterday on the third floor. Got the flooring. So after that, we just got to finish up some tape on the drywall and the texture, and then the doors will go in, and then it'll get painted. So kind of the same thing. Yep. It's an inch and a half. Yeah. Yeah, he was asking how thick the flooring is on the left of the picture, and it's an inch and a half.
That's a good question. So, as Jacob alluded to, the B and C are in a cool state right now because depending on what floor you're in and which building you're in, you can see texture, you can see paint, you can see doors, you can see gypcrete. They're just following along. You see cabinets, and it just kind of goes floor by floor by floor by floor. Right? We're all dried in, so now those guys can just do their thing. And as we've talked about in previous months, we have every cabinet here right now. We have closet shelving here. We have all that stuff. So. It's coming together pretty quickly over there. I actually struggled as to which pictures to put in because I had so many at different phases, right? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so for the entry doors, we're
Repeat
holding.
the question, Jacob.
Yeah, she was asking what the entry doors into the units look like. Right now, there's no pictures because we're holding off on those. There's a lot of cabinets getting brought into the units right now, so we don't want to hit anything. But those will be wood doors that get painted. They'll be, if you go to the last picture, the interior doors are the two panels you can see, but the entry doors are just be flush and then painted.
The finished flooring a floated floor, or is it fastened?
Yeah, so the question was if the flooring on the inside is glued or just floated. It will be glued down or stable depending on if it's carpet or the LVT. Yeah. No, it's glued down. Yep. Yeah.
All right. All right. I did have this is D and E, and I'm gonna read you a text that I just got as we were standing up here from our field superintendent Alex over there, and I'll let Sarah chime in as well. But we're placing concrete in our last stairwell tomorrow, so that's a big deal for us. We're having above ceiling inspection on level 3 today with the fire marshal. We have, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be pouring concrete on the bridge, and then we're doing MEP rough-in all through level 1 and 2 on the eastern wing of that, which would be your E building. And then the E windows will be completed by the end of the week. So, go ahead. You got any?
So who's living in building D or E? Yeah? All right. This area right here is going to be the bocce ball court. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Once that all opens up. I've never played bocce ball, but I'm going to be the first one out there. So bring your game. I'm just
Your microphone.
Oh. I'm so sorry.
She was
Redo it all?
She was
Redo it
killing
all.
it up
Okay.
here. You guys just couldn't.
I was just so excited. So for Building D, if you're going to live in Building D or Building E or even Building C, the bocce ball court is going to be right in this area. So I said, if you like to play bocce ball, meet me out there. I'll be the first one out there, if Gretchen lets me. And then another update from yesterday is all the mechanical units were flown onto the roof of C North, which is this building over here.
I think we have. Sorry, Sarah. I think we have 4 mechanical units total left to set around the project. So then we'll be done flying those. So pretty exciting.
Yep, a lot of good milestones we're going to be meeting here shortly. And then they're going to be continuing paint inside. We call this the dog leg, painting inside that area. As John said earlier, we're stuccoing building C East, which is building E.
Yeah, this one over here.
Oh, okay, right behind me. So this one's a dark gray color. Once it gets the finish coat, it'll be a white color, just like this building right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically, it gets the stucco brown coat. They call that, even though it's gray, and then they put the finish coat on, and then let the pH get to a certain state, and then paint it. So.
The building that has scaffolding on it, this is building D.
This one or this one?
In the right photo? This one is building D.
It's all this is building D as well. D makes up a big
It's like C shape.
C shape. Yeah. So we got some interior pictures as well, because that's where really at this building we are. The other building where drywall, cabinets, paint, right, finishes. This building follows behind that. So this building is getting all the guts put in, right? Installation, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, things like that.
And we're already at to the 3rd level for our inspections. That's going to be happening tomorrow with the fire marshal. So we're moving right along. Okay.
All right.
All right.
On to the fun building.
Yeah, fun building. This is the courtyard outside of building. We call it building D1. It is building F. Building F. Water feature right here. And then these 4 structures, they're the masonry. There's tree planters. So there are going to be some nice big trees in that area. It's going to be beautiful when it's all finished. The picture to the right, or the photo to the right, is the breezeway, the covered breezeway, which is actually, if you go to the east, that's the if you're looking at the west side, that's where this photo is the water feature and the plants.
That breezeway is like right here.
Right.
Right. You can see the donut right here.
And I think this photo shows it. I just walked this building right before coming here, and all the finishes in this ceiling, they're just coming together so nicely, and they look really, really nice.
Yeah, we've got some more
Okay.
pictures too.
Okay.
And the fireplace is down at the far end down there. Right?
Yeah, behind the ladder, there's a fireplace, a double-sided fireplace. Oh, okay. This is the elevated dining room, which will be known as Azul, the restaurant Azul. And they've got the
You got a
barrel
question,
ceilings.
Sarah? Yes, ma'am. It's a great question. The status. She asked about the status of the pizza oven, which we talked about last month. To bring everybody up to speed, if you don't remember, the pizza oven was delayed because you couldn't get the tile, and it's coming from Italy. We got an email last week that it sounds like they've built it now, and it's getting ready to ship. So, yeah, we're pretty excited about that. Now, again, until it shows up, we're a little skeptical. It's on a boat somewhere, right? But that was, yeah, we feel a little bit better about the pizza oven right now. We also, the team did a great job of figuring out a way to get the pizza oven in without stopping construction of the entire cook line. So we demoed a couple of walls that were already built, took out a door, and we have a path now to get it in, but we're continuing to build. So, yes. That is great news. Yes.
Yay!
Pizza or no pizza, you can have some wine while you wait, right? Yes, ma'am. So the question is about the sort of the perspective of this picture and this view. So essentially, if you were standing right here in this picture and looking towards what would be
Building C.
C and then B, that's where you're at. Yep. That is a wall. Those are walls. So you've got a water feature and a nice courtyard area,
Stone veneer walls.
and stone veneer, decorative stone walls, and then you go out and there's another water feature and another bigger courtyard area on the other side of that.
Oh, okay.
Outdoor dining, okay. Where the fountains are, is that what's going to be right there? Right. This is a fountain. These are planters. Yeah. So you got a fountain here, and then you got more fountains out here.
You can see the entrance at Building B. It will be right here. That's where the main area to come out to go to the D buildings is. So you'll kind of be on this side of the courtyard of the walls.
So are you asking if you're in
And-
one of the upper units what your view is?
Well, the
Oh.
walls are designed for to provide a little bit of privacy to all of those homes that are right on the other side of the dining venue, and there'll be some plantings around them, and just provide a little bit of privacy, especially for those on the first floor.
Yeah.
A map,
Like a site plan.
map.
Yeah, we could come up with something, or maybe you can see it in one of the drone shots. I'll pull up a drone shot, a still shot later. Maybe we can see that a little bit better and answer your question. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Which way does that face? Northeast, south, which way are we looking?
You're looking west. Yep. All right. Good question. So, as Sarah said, this is elevated dining. You can see the barrel ceilings are being constructed. This is the bar. So, this is backing for, you see in bars, there's a really nice custom hanging rack with like the glass and that kind of stuff. That's all for. You can see tile. You've got all kinds of tile over there on the walls. We showed a bunch of pictures of that last month, but there's a lot of really nice tile and finishes over there.
All right, this room is the classroom, or it was renamed the Links room, I think, in building G. So this will be just a community meeting area, I think. And they're installing all the millwork and all the cabinets in this building right now.
And this is Glenn,
Okay,
who
yeah,
you
that's
met
Glenn.
earlier. Right. The reason I put this picture in there is I don't know if you can tell, but that's not a painted wall. That's all FRP. So that is
Okay.
fiberglass panels that go in kitchen and cook areas. So we're 100% done with that installation at this point. And then this was some pictures from the site. So you've got, you can see some masonry walls being placed. You've got some sidewalk going in all around the job.
Handrail.
And then this handrail just went in on the ramp. And right before I came here, I was standing right here on the other side of this wall because we're starting to build the block that goes on top of the other side of the ramp. You got block on two sides and then railing on the third. And then that's your entrance to your parking garage right there. Glenn, I know you don't have a microphone, but is there anything on the parking garage that you may bring up? I don't have a picture, but.
Can you guys hear me? Yes. So in the parking garage, we're moving forward with the framing for the elevator lobbies. Those elevator lobbies get a 4-out, so when you walk in from the garage into to take the elevator for your room, you won't see a brick wall. You'll see some nice painted drywall. We're starting to frame out those ceilings as well, and then we're working on finishing up the MEP, the mechanical, the electrical, so you have outlets and air conditioning in those rooms. Upcoming, we also have the mechanical rooms and electrical rooms for the D area. So where I apologize, the F area. So underneath the restaurant and all that, we're getting ready with the electrical infrastructure. So when all the equipment shows up for the kitchen, they're ready to just plug and play. And then coming up to, we're working through finishing some structural connections for those masonry walls to avoid any potential shifting of those walls. And then after that, we'll get started on a graphic wall wrap and then some striping as soon as I can get those cabinets that we're holding for buildings B and C, get those installed and open up some space down there.
And in case anybody's wondering, I'll get your question in a second. In case anybody's wondering why I would ask Glenn to do that, Glenn has been running the work in the garage as out in the field. So besides flying his drone, he's managing that process. Yes, sir. Oh, I don't. Where do you think you're going? Come on now.
So the question was concrete, raw concrete tends to give off some dust and some gas offsets. Will there be sealant on those walls and flooring? The answer is yes. There's a curing compound that is used when we place that concrete. In addition to that, we'll be applying some sealer in some locations to avoid having that just raw finish. In the parking garage, we do have a broom finish, and that's just for when your cars are in there, they don't, tend to slide around if there's any oil spills or anything like that. So the main garage area where the parking will be rough, but the walking areas will have a sealer on it.
Very good. Any other garage questions for Glenn? Yes. Repeat the question, dude.
The question was, with the unusual rains that we had a couple weeks ago, were there any issues with the parking garage? And the answer is no. We had an issue early on before we had paved the ramp because it was a lot of dirt, and when the rain, started falling, it pushed all the dirt. at the bottom of the ramp at the parking garage, we actually have a drain, a trough drain, to catch any water that spills down that ramp. When we had dirt, all that dirt kind of moved in and clogged it up, and that allowed the water to continue past into the garage, which it ended up going pretty far. But now that it's paved, the drain is functioning correctly, and there is no concern with that drain filling up because that gets tied into a sump pump, which is kind of just a big basin, and it's got a pump inside. So anytime it detects water in there, it pumps it out to the storm drain.
Good. All right.
Any other questions?
Good job, Glenn. All right, let's get a Vita Center update too. So I've got this. This was sort of the start of the video earlier. Sarah mentioned we placed all of this concrete. I've got some great pictures of that that I'll let her tell you all about.
All right, use the mic. Thank you for the reminder. So let me see where we are. Monday morning last week, we placed the first section of the concrete slab, which is the west half of the Vita Center, and we had wire.
Mesh.
Welded wire fabric, wire mesh in that area. So we poured that Monday morning. It was awesome. Kendra was there at 6 a.m. She put her handprint in the slab and then wrote her initials and the date. So that was awesome, and everything went smoothly. Like our concrete guys, the finishers, they're professionals at what they do, and they knocked it out of the park. And then a couple days later, Wednesday morning at 2 a.m. We also had another concrete placement. It was probably twice the size. We placed concrete in the pulpit, as well as the occupational therapy room, and all the rooms surrounding it. So 90% of the concrete has been placed as of last week. And the difference there is that we had rebar around the occupational therapy room and around the pulpit, just to give it a little bit more structural strength.
What about update us on the steel a little bit and where we're at? You mentioned bridging and starting decking earlier.
So what we're doing now is on this side of the slab, on the west half, our iron workers are installing bridging between the joists, between all the steel framing, and that's going to be supporting the metal decking on top.
So by the time another month rolls around, this will all be decked and that'll all be undercover. And why do we care? Well, we care because that releases all the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, all the stuff under the deck to start going, right? Because we can't work under it while it's being welded and put together. So that really kicks off a lot of activities for us. Sarah also mentioned the pulpit. This is no small feat that took place. Why don't you talk about that a little bit, Sarah?
Yeah, so this occupation or the hydrotherapy pool, once it arrives in January, it will be sitting on this raised 4-inch concrete slab. This pool pad. We poured it monolithically by using a hung form. Right, that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Hung form. So that was my first time seeing that operation, and everything went smoothly. The finishers had to climb onto a ladder. I don't know if you can see, but the ladder's right up here, and we had to set it on top of the lid of the sump pit, in order to not affect any of the concrete that was getting placed. And this is the end result. Over here, I'll get out of the way on the right side, with all the concrete with the joints and everything saw cut. And to me, it looks really clean. We're pretty happy with the turnout. So this is in the pool pit.
Yes, this is down in the pit, so the pool will sit on top of this. And what she means by hung form is you can see this wood right here and this formwork creates this edge, but it doesn't go all the way to the ground because you're placing concrete all the way through, and then that's a raised pad that pool sits on. It's a far more efficient way to pour it on one placement rather than place it, wait for concrete to cure out, then form the pad separately and come back and place that. So pretty cool. And she also mentioned another thing that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's Kendra. It was It was pretty cold out that morning too, so that was pretty cool. It's our handprint,
Yeah,
and
so
that's
it came out really well.
yeah.
So we appreciate it and appreciate the participation, and yeah, we're pretty excited about what's happening over at Vita too. Okay, any questions on Vita? Like go see the handprint? The question was, can we go see the handprint, right? Yes. So it's in a, what room we put that in?
The SES.
Electrical room. Okay. So yeah. Yeah. That'd be a good idea, like a Hollywood tour, but you have maps, right? That's good.
We have a question from our live TV audience.
Yeah.
They would like to know why some part of the Vita Center is in block and other parts is in steel.
Okay. Did everybody hear the question? I assume everybody could hear it. Why is it some parts in block and some parts in steel? Largely design element and cost would be the answer to that. So essentially, when they're designing a building, you can use wood, you can use steel, you can use block. Now, there's some conditions where you want one or the other. Like you wouldn't want to put drywall in the pool pit, so you've got block that's waterproof and everything like that down there, right? But for the most part, when they were designing this and looking at the cost element, it was cost effective to do what you had to do in masonry and masonry, and then everything else gets steel and metal stud framing. Any of your thoughts on that?
No, you got it.
So it's kind of interesting. It goes with the markets, right? Whatever the cost of metal versus block is a lot of times, and wood. And sometimes you get a combo like this. So we like this combo because it's fast, and it's straight and fast and reliable as far as how we build it. So yeah, it's good. This is be pretty standard for a commercial building. Any other questions? All right, so let's talk about upcoming work. We talked about it a little bit. I wanted to see if we had an overhead shot. I still want to get back to your drone shot. So, upcoming work around the site. We are paving. I know it was on the 18th. I don't know that date is still the case, not because of progress of the concrete, but because of availability of asphalt around the Thanksgiving holiday. So lots of people try to get stuff done right before the holiday so they can take off, right? And so we're still trying to lock that pave date in, but it'll be right around there. It'll either be just before Thanksgiving or just after Thanksgiving. We'll pave that whole thing. So you're going to see some heavy equipment and things remobilize. It's scheduled for the 14th to remobilize and start filling this with asphalt base, the rock course basically, and get ready for that. What else is coming up? Stucco will continue stucco around the D building here, and just work its way around. We love when we no longer have scaffold out there, so we're as anxious as everybody else to get that done and get that moving forward. Jacob mentioned on the inside of B and C, we are going like crazy with the cabinets and the drywall and the paint. Our drywaller can't get enough people. We're constantly like, here's another area. So some of you may have seen we had quite a bit of drywall on site a week or two ago. It was stacked on balconies. It was all over the place. We were drywalling, I think, 13 units at one time at that point. So lots and lots of drywall going on, and flooring. And then we're getting ready to turn on power. 2 weeks, 2 weeks from turning on the permanent power to these buildings right here. Are you going to turn it on just here first, Jacob? Yep. Just here, and then this will follow next. So we've got it to the switch gear. It's a matter of turning it on once we have enough of the trim out done to where it's safe, right? We can't have anybody potentially electrocuting themselves. Yeah, I think that's about it. Anything else upcoming I'm missing, guys? Yes, sir. You know, the questions on the move-in dates, and every month I get that question right before this slide, right? It has not changed again, but I'll tell you what we are doing. We have a pretty extensive process right now. So the short answer is I still have it TBD because we're still in that 60 to 90 day range. So January, February is where we're looking for being the B, C, F, that whole turnover, and then the turnover after that is in that May, June range. The reason why I say range is for a couple things. One, again, we don't have the pizza oven yet, right? Until we see it, we don't have it. Two, we just got an email last week that I haven't forwarded to you yet that the F20 lights are January 5 to 19 now is when they're going to show up. So we got to look at those and see how that affects our ceiling rough in that area. Those are in the F building. The pool's Vita. The pool now is telling us at best end of January. So the long story short is that's why we're giving you a range. Is we just don't have. We're still getting a lot of that kind of stuff, but it's starting to dial in, right? As we get more and more of it installed, we have less and less out there that we're still trying to get. So we're still in that January, February range for that next turnover on our end. So the question is on landscaping the north sides of B and C. The landscaper is scheduled to start at the end of this month, and then they'll be landscaping from then all the way until we open. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. So the question is on the fencing between the villas and our construction site right now on the north side, and that will be gone once we turn over those buildings. So that January, February. We actually have an issue right now that the county says if we leave our construction site on that side, if we open that fence, we're in violation of their dust control provisions. So it doesn't make sense to me. But they say, no, that's you driving straight from a construction site onto a public street, and you don't have a full, on our main entrance we have rock and all that stuff. We would have to put that in front of all the villas if we're able to use that. So that's when that will turn over. Yes, ma'am.
On the pizza oven, is it coming by slow boat or is it
So it's a really good question. So the question is if the pizza oven is sailing or flying on a plane. The pizza oven is coming on a boat, I believe. I can tell you we did just air freight some tile. And it's unbelievable how much an air freight is right now from Italy. So I think, if I'm correct, the pizza oven's coming by boat. But they have told us, initially they told us 6 weeks from the time it leaves Italy. They have told us now it may actually be quite a bit less than that to get here. So we'll confirm that hopefully next month. Yes, sir. Well, the question is if we consider finding a pizza oven in America. And the answer is no, because the pizza oven that is designed is from there and has to be built there. But it's a good question. But this pizza oven, I'm telling you, sir, it's pretty neat. It's pretty cool. So I'm assuming that those that know pizza ovens, there's a reason that we need this one.
Sean, I have a question from our television audience. They
Yes.
want to know, is there a chance that the pizza oven could be held up at the port?
The question is, could the pizza oven be held up at the port? We learned on our entry lights at the villas that that's always possible, but so far we haven't heard that that's any sort of an issue. No.
Will you email us when it comes in?
Yes, the question is, would we email you and let everybody know when the pizza oven comes in? And yes, I can assure you that Gretchen and team will know, and yeah, we'll let everybody know on that. It is going to be really neat. It's going to be worth the wait for sure. What else? Let me see if I can find a drone shot that shows that.
Sean, we have another question.
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, schedule in the Vita Center. So right now, like I said, the pool is waiting on the lift, hydraulic lift, and the hydraulic lift is supposed to show up in December. Then they can build the pool, which puts the pool in January. Whenever that pool gets there, that kicks off us being able to finish that. That's a long way of me telling you. That's also looking in that probably May, June range. Okay, and it essentially is we can only build to a certain point until that pool rises because we have to bring it in over the top, so we have to leave the roof open to get the pool in. We can't fit it in other than by crane over the top. So, yes, sir. Right here. Yep. So road comes right here. Here's the south cul-de-sac, and there's the entrance right there. And then on the question earlier from the B building, I don't know where your unit is, if it's. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yeah, and Carrie's right behind you there. Yeah. What unit?
Right over in this corner.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. You point to the wall. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay. Yeah, so the wall that was shown earlier is right along here. And then this would be, if I might have misspoke, but this is the B building near it, not the C.
So, but you're at that end of it, not at this end.
Yeah, this whole thing. C is going this way. Yep. This whole stretch right here is B.
Yeah. Here, let me see. I think I have that map, right? No, I don't have it on there.
Pretty small.
I think that's a good shot.
Yeah. Watch out.
That's a good shot to look at.
So yeah, so you've got B is this whole rectangle, C is this whole rectangle here, D is this C shape, and E is this. So it can get confusing. There's no question, and the county likes us to call them different things than that, so we get, we get a little confused for sure. Yes. The question is, what other roadblocks, delays that might be out there? The different buildings are different. The B and C buildings, we're passing pretty significant milestones right now to where we won't have another inspection until the end. And we have all the cabinets, and we have all the paint, and we have all the materials. So there's not a lot of roadblocks to those two, other than the amount of labor we can fit in them and the labor we can get in them, right? That's a roadblock for everybody right now. I think I mentioned this last month. There are places in Phoenix right now that are paying people and workers cash at the end of every day to try to make sure they get the people, right? It's so that's probably the biggest roadblock, is just how many people can we get and fit in those two buildings. In the restaurant buildings, it's a little bit less about that and a little bit more about the light fixtures and some of those things, and because it's got some very fancy, nice, beautiful items that just take a while to get, and sometimes they get damaged, and then we got to wait for the replacement. So that's probably the biggest roadblock in those buildings. And then in the D and E building, the 4-story units, that is probably, we've got 2 roadblocks to that right now. One is we've got an interpretation of a detail from the county that we're going back and forth on, and that we'll work through. I think we got a solution to that as of that last day or two. And then that one, there is a pretty significant shortage of plumbers in the valley right now. And so how many of those we can get, how many plumbers and craftspeople we can get to fit in that building would be the other roadblock there. So those are probably the most significant ones. Again, we didn't know about this issue with the F20 lights until we got an email out of nowhere last week. So some of that stuff continues to happen, but we're getting past, as Sarah said earlier, a lot of significant milestones at this point. Does that answer your question? It's a question, are we having people come in on weekends? And yes, we made the decision at least 2 months ago now to be open 6 days a week. We also have been paying anybody who is a 410s type of trade to work Friday. So we're getting Fridays out of the 4-day-a-week trades, and we're getting Saturdays out of the 5-day-a-week trades to try to help some of the holdups and some of the issues with the labor. Now people have to show up on those days, right? So a lot of people volunteer for Saturday on Thursday, and then Saturday morning rolls around, and they may or may not be there. But yes. So the question is about Sunday, and that is correct. We have decided not to open on Sunday. There's a couple of reasons. One is there is pretty significant data that states that if people work 7 days a week, they get hurt. Everybody needs a day off, right? And so that's the main reason that we're not on Sundays.
Sean, would you remind everybody that regarding lights and everything else, that you're getting these random notifications of delays on receiving product, that we won't be able to turn over the buildings until we have everything that's on the plans installed?
Yeah, that's a good point. We talked about this a little bit before. The reason that these green buildings are grouped together is because they're all tied together as far as the county is concerned. You can't have one without the other. So when we get a delay of lights at a restaurant, it affects the units in building B, if that makes sense, because they're all permitted together. So all of these will turn over at the same time, and we have to have everything in there. They don't let us just say, oh, well, no, just shut the doors on that, nobody go in that room. We've got to have it all. So that's why I bring those up. I don't mean for it to sound like any sort of excuse. We're doing everything we can to get you guys. We know you guys are sick of having construction out here, right? And everybody's anxious to have these buildings, and we're anxious to give them to you. But some of those we just don't control, and so we're just trying to be transparent as possible about it. Yes, sir.
Can you provide tours to the unit before the permit is satisfied?
The question is about tours to the units before the permit is satisfied. It's generally, we've said no to that from a safety standpoint. There are scenarios we did do potentially, if we can figure out a safe way to do it. Let's say the unit's done, but we're waiting on one thing. Maybe then it would be something that could be worked out, but that would be through Royal Oaks and coordinated between Gretchen and myself and what was safe for everybody to do. That's we don't want to get somebody hurt. You know, I know everybody wants to see their units, but we don't want to get somebody hurt. So, any other questions? Yes, sir. Good question. The question is, will move-ins in the green buildings depend on the condition of the red buildings? And the answer is no. That's a separate permit. So this fence that we talked about earlier will move down here and encapsulate this building, which would allow these to open. Okay. Now, and that includes a portion of the garage, right? These buildings all tie into the garage underneath, so a portion of the garage will open as well with the green, and then a portion with the red. All right, we're a little bit past time. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to come up and ask, but thank you very much.